Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. This is the only podcast that gives you a raw and unfiltered perspective of what it's really like to be a professional cheerleader. Whether you're currently on a pro team, an alumni, or really curious about what it takes to become a pro cheerleader, the Pro Cheerleading Podcast gives you all the inside scoop and hot topics in the pro cheerleading industry and in-depth interviews of current and former cheerleaders. I'm your host, Mhkeeba. Join me every Wednesday as I reveal the truth behind the Poms. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. I'm going live. I'm also kind of going live on YouTube over here, so just watch me with like 3 different screens in my face, looking a little spastic, but I figured it would be a lot easier for me to get through Cheer Chat if I had some people that I was chatting with instead of just recording with this awesome mic in my face. So I'm going to try it out. You know, Brittany and I used to record Cheer Chat, put it up on YouTube, sometimes go live, and oh, people are waving. Hi. So I thought I would try it. You know, I get lonely sometimes. I needed to like do my hair and put on some makeup to make sure I still know how to do it. So I'm just gonna record Cheer Chat, and this is my way of trying to interact with you guys and just, I don't know, get on camera, whatever. Anyway, okay, so let's go. Today's episode, not even today, oh my God, so here we go, already just doing the most. Tomorrow's episode is called Throwback, and I am super, super excited because I am interviewing Durante Lambert. He is my first male dancer on the show, which I've been wanting for a very, very, very long time now. He is based in Portland, and he's, you know, a former member of the Rip City dance crew for the Portland Trailblazers. And so we get into his choreography because he is a wonderful choreographer. I've been posting his classes on Instagram Live in my feed, and I just eavesdropped because I was not going to mess up my hair today. Like, let me shut up. But I've taken his classes and totally trashed my hair. It's such a fun, amazing workout and just groove session. He's got this, I don't know, this style about him where you just have fun dancing, and super encouraging and motivating during the whole entire class. And now he's been able to move into a studio and have his backup crew. They were killing it tonight. So I'm super excited to share this episode with you guys, and I would love to travel down to Portland to take the class with him because he's just got amazing energy. So stay tuned for that. You know, every episode's got some Cheer Chat, and let's just get into it. My dog Giggles is behind me, and let's hope she behaves. But if you hear a dog go ape shit, that's my dog. Yorkie Poodle mix, who's just extra, extra feisty, but should I expect anything less of my dog? Probably not. So let's kick it off. Let's just get the Rona update out the way. You know, I told you guys I would keep you posted about how things are looking, just kind of paying attention to the dialogue. And so the NFL, they put out another memo saying that clubs can reopen their practice facilities as of yesterday, May 19th, if they're permitted to do so under their state and local regulations, right? So they're trying to kind of give some leeway for teams to do what their local government will allow, which is great. They're still trying to keep it fair. So what they're doing is saying that like healthy players and coaches still aren't allowed to be, you know, in the facilities. So they aren't returning to work yet until all 32 teams can return. So that's good. It's going to be like front office personnel that are in there, and I'm assuming just kind of essential employees. They can't have more than a certain number in the building at a time, but I mean, it's forward progress. But some of the governors are saying that basically pro sporting events can reopen. Some of them are talking as soon as June, but they're saying fanless games. So no fans at the games. And I'm still trying to figure out where we fit into the mix, as I discussed last week, if there aren't fans at the games. So all summer long, if they start having sporting events, baseball's supposed to start at some point, isn't it? Right? We'll see how things go with fanless games and how they try to make that juicy and spicy enough. It'll still be televised, so I'm sure people enjoy being able to watch a sporting event on TV, but not having fans is going to be interesting, and it also raises questions for who we're pumping up. Like, who are we dancing for? Hopefully we'll be able to dance for some cameras and get some airtime. That's my vote. You can maybe be motivating to the players that are out there to give them some sense of like what a normal game would be like. We'll just keep an eye on it. So that's all I got to say about Rona for right now. I'm over Rona, and this is just as much as we got for this week. But I just look for how the narrative might shift, because everybody's thirsty for sporting events. And I think as soon as they keep riling up, we got people rioting so that they can go back to their life as they know it. And the states are opening up one by one. So if people start going like, give us sports and blah, 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 who knows what pressure our governments might fall to get this show on the road. So I'll keep an eye on it and obviously keep you guys posted. But it's now time for an auditions update. So I wish that we could see like more like behind the scenes of how they're going through reviewing audition videos. I think I saw Kelly Finglass like tweet about watching somebody's submission that was in front of some cows, and she killed her routine, and so she was actually tweeting about it. So it'd be cool to get more behind the scenes stuff like that. But for now, what some teams are doing is just kind of showing blooper reels from like all the audition video submissions, which I think is kind of cute. I can't imagine how you guys are doing this, like finding space and quiet areas, and just, I've seen people hitting furniture, trying to get through speaking like I am, and, flubbing it up. But I think it's just making a little light of it. We're all human, and there's going to be some serious outtakes, but you should save them. You should be proud of yourselves. Everybody who's going through this process, it's not at all easy. So stick with it. And I'll just, give you the update team by team of what I'm seeing out there. So one thing I noticed, and I'm just seeing this based on teams' posts of their finalists or different videos, is just, it's almost like audition attire went like back to basics, like hella basic, like sports bra, booty shorts, sports bra leggings. Sometimes, I'm sure they have like requirements of what they want you to wear, but I kind of got excited when I saw the Redskins vets coming back, and they were just all just blinged the heck out. Like I saw Jordan, she had like a captain hat and like this captain tied, like she looked hella cute. It's just exciting to see people put that energy into it. And I know that times might be a little bit more difficult to afford, some fancy audition top, but there's, a few new Instagram handles that I've noticed out there. There's like Gems by Amy and the Dazzle Doctor, who just like bling out these tops, and they're just so amazing and so pretty, but it just helps you stand out. So I'm just saying, maybe they say don't bling it up, but if they don't say that, like just it's fun. That's like one of the cool things about audition season, right? Is just seeing people all glam, like hella glam. I'll just admit, like some of the like headshots have just been very basic, but maybe that's all you can do. So kudos to you too. Let's see, team by team. It's exciting to see like how they are posting about the stats, and just so you guys can get a sense for the numbers and the who's all auditioning and how it might be different from years past. The Dallas Cowboys just launched, and they posted that they had over 1,500 people apply. So I don't know if that number is usually that high, or if it I know they get a lot, but 1,500 plus sounds like it could be double. I don't know. Y'all let me know, but that's a lot of people. So, for everybody going through this process, just know that, because it's easy for people to just submit videos, and not that it's an easy process by any means, but more people are applying from different states and different countries, and it's a competitive landscape. So don't feel bad or too down on yourself if you aren't making the cut. There's a shit ton of people doing this. Tampa Bay mentioned that they had 500 plus applications submitted from 37 states with like 125 colleges and universities and 35 different pro teams represented. So, going from 500 down to 60 finalists, 5 of which are males. Those odds are pretty stiff. But congratulations to everybody who's made it so far. The Seahawks here in Seattle mentioned that they had 250 applicants, and they had 89 semifinalists that are moving into the round with the vets. So we don't have the same kind of numbers. Seattle's a move. You got to go all the way up to the Pacific Northwest. But the one exciting thing that's happened in the last week is that the Texans announced that they're holding virtual tryouts as well. So it looks like a similar process. They're going to have from Saturday until Wednesday to submit videos, and then, they're going to have a second round that interviews that are listed as TBD, and then they're hoping to have finals in person. So we're going to see a lot of like TBD, finals later kind of a situation. So I'll just keep you updated as we hear more. I just want to give a shout out. Last week when we had our virtual happy hour, I just know that you guys are in such a state of limbo, and it's super hard to, try to plan your lives around so much uncertainty. Like, how do you find a job? How do you relocate if you don't have a job? Like, this is a difficult time to try to find a job so that you can support yourself doing these auditions if you make the team. So I just want to let you know I feel for you. It's not easy. It's stressful. You're not alone. There's a lot of people who are going through a similar, like, planning quagmire, like if this, then that, and trying to plan things out. But fingers crossed for you, and just breathe with it. This is, it's just about that kind of a life right now. So next, I'm going to get into a little bit of like hot mess news that popped up this week. Okay. So have you guys seen this headline that the University of Kentucky cheerleading staff got into some little hot water because they were apparently engaged in some hazing activity that involved drinking? It also involved basket tosses half naked into Lake Cumberland, apparently, and just some kind of irresponsible behavior that the coaches seem to have known about. And I don't know how it got public, but the university fired all 4 of the coaches. I think they're like I don't know if they're national champions. I think they're hella good. I don't follow college cheer like I should, but how messy is that to kind of get caught up in that? Thankfully, they took care of it, and didn't kind of try to excuse the behavior. It's interesting to see when organizations take action based on how they're treating their dancers. Hint, hint, some teams that maybe took a different approach. But yeah, it's super sad. And the worst part about it is it's one thing if you want to just act a fool and do a basket toss with no shirt on or whatever. But like for those who did not feel comfortable doing that and were forced to, that's not cool. So I'm glad it came to light, and cut it out. Okay. Like just stop. The other hot mess news is that, they're having these pro sporting events around the world, as I mentioned last week, without fans, right? And so apparently Korean soccer club, a pro soccer club, they were filling empty seats with sex dolls. I'm not even kidding. They ordered it from the same company that makes sex dolls, even though they weren't aware that they were actually sex dolls, but they were sex dolls. So they have sex dolls up in the stands. Some of them were male, some of them were female. And I guess there was a big uproar because they saw like some stickers or banners of the company that makes the damn sex dolls. So, just can we not? And sometimes, other teams are like doing like cutouts of fans throughout the stands and like banners showing fans. Like that's going to be really sad. Like that's a sad backdrop. I think live cheerleaders would be a much better visual than some sex dolls or some banners. I'm just saying. Let's hope that fanless games, you guys. It's going to get weird. I think it's going to get weird. Let's see. I have a question, you guys. I've debated, whether to even bring this up, but I'm a truth behind the Poms kind of person. I'm trying to be a little bit more available in terms of you guys getting to know me now that it's, I'm out by myself, but you guys know I'm a shit talker, and I'm also I'm a keep it real girl. That's just who I am. But there was something that was eating at me a little bit, and I was just curious what you guys think. So, with the podcast, I do a lot of just corresponding with people back and forth, and I sing things I like, I share it, I promote it, whatever. Not a big deal. I'm not getting ads for sponsorships. I'm not really I hate ads. Do you guys hate ads? I hate ads. So it's all love for me, all positive energy. And I'm just curious, like, would you guys feel a certain way? Like somebody reached out about being on my show with the idea that we would be on each other's show, right? And I thought it was a great opportunity and took them up and had them on my show, and the favor wasn't returned, and it's not a big deal. I didn't make a big deal of it at all, but I've noticed that some of the guests that I've had on my show have been guests on this person's show, and the only reason why I bring it up is just that, how would you guys feel? That's what I mainly wanted to know, is just like, is that something that strikes you as, just kind of being fair? I just want this space that I'm trying to create with everybody to be something where I bring you people that I think are dope, that I think have a great message, that I just feel that vibe from. And I don't own this space. I think this was the first podcast to do anything like this. And obviously it's a free country, and I don't own any guests, and I don't own the topic of pro cheerleading, but it's just like a mutual respect thing, right? Am I crazy? Y'all can comment. I said what I said. I think it's just something that I'm curious what you guys would think, because it just seems a little odd to me. Okay, anyway, let's go back to the episode. I am, like I said, just wanting to bring you guys things that I think are important to talk about, and having like the first male dancer on this show means a lot, because there's been so much change in this space over the past year or so, and the Portland Rip City Crew was one of the new teams that were added to the Trailblazers in a manner that I thought was like spot on. Oh, thank you. Definitely should be returned, I believe. Of course, it's off topic, then that's different. No, it's not off topic, but yeah, thank you for that. I'm just reading comments, otherwise I'll miss them. When you have good content and you do your job well, people will do that. It hurts and it's not easy to let it go, but keep going. Thank you guys. Relax, relate, release. And I was just curious, you know what I'm saying, how you guys would take a similar situation. But again, this episode is all about Durante Lambert, and I just wanted to share with you guys why I call the episode Throwback. Like, part of my joy is always trying to find a song that totally reminds me of the person that I interviewed or has some tie to them. And taking his class the last few times, I couldn't really find a way to describe it, but it gave me like this throwback vibe of, how like when you just are dancing at home and nobody's around and you just feel good, and you have like pockets in the choreography where you could add your little stank on it and just have fun with it. His choreo totally reminds me of that, and his performance quality, his vibe, his aura, his energy is just kind of like an old school vibe. You'll hear about him and how he started with African dance when he was very young, and I think he must have like an old soul. Maybe that's what it is, but I named this episode Throwback because this song, it's by Gowan, or I don't know how you pronounce the dude's name. Cutie Pie, but it's like my happy song. Like, you have like a playlist of just songs that put you in a good mood, put you in a good space. And this song does that for me. And I'm super excited for you guys to hear this episode. Thanks for hanging with me for Cheer Chat. It feels so much better, actually. Like, so much better. So you'll see my face. It'll be one reason to kind of try to get halfway decent while I'm sitting up here in Rona quarantine. But I will sign off for now and kick it over to the interview. I can't wait for you to see this episode tomorrow. Let me know what you think. Take his class. Like, he just finished one, and I wish I could have joined, but I would have messed up my hair. And but he's doing them probably like weekly. And support these choreographers, you guys, with any donation that you can, right? I mean, it's a way of saying thank you and showing love to them. And I just imagine that trying to just give back by making these classes available on Instagram Live, but it's a good thing to do. Whatever you're able to contribute, I think it's a good gesture. What you put out, you get back. So, with that said, here is your Throwback episode. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good. I had to recreate some magic, completely sweated out everything yesterday, but it was so much fun.
I'm glad you had a good time.
I love your style. Like, how would you describe your style of choreo? It's just so fun. It's got like this throwback vibe to it.
Yeah. I would say I'm more like of a jazz funk dancer. I mean, I trained in all styles, but I would say I'm more of like a jazz funk dancer because I like to mix different styles all in the same combination, as you probably saw before. So I would say I'm more leaning towards that side than more like a hip hop dancer.
Okay. Because maybe that's what caught me by surprise. And I'm terrible at just like kicking things off. Like, sometimes I just get to yapping and forget that there's like a show, but
no, I love it. It's all good.
Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. I'm just so excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited as well.
So tell me about yourself. Are you from Portland?
I'm born and raised from Portland, Oregon. Yep,
Okay.
My whole entire family's here.
Wow, and you just became an uncle, is that right?
I did. My sister just had a baby girl on the 19th. So she's about 2 weeks old now. And it was funny because I was doing that IG class and I had like kind of announced it because I was waiting for the call, like, she's here, or, what was going on. And she came that night, like, I think a couple of hours after I ended the call. So yeah, we're all ecstatic, and she's so cute, and I'm an uncle again, and I just love it. I can't wait to start teaching her dance, matter of fact.
Oh, that's awesome. With COVID and everything, was it similar restrictions where nobody was able to be?
Yeah, she was a little bit nervous, so the only person who could go in was her baby's dad. She got some support to be able to, handle childbirth, so she's not alone. And we all were on the House Party app. I don't know if you've heard of that before. Yeah, so we were getting updates on that, so we kind of felt like we were there to help support her through virtually.
Right. That's good. I was worried that like it was just like nobody was allowed, but at least
That's
your
what,
significant other or somebody allowed.
yes, it was a great situation for her. So I'm glad it all went well for her.
Good, good, good. And when the storm
Yeah.
thing is over with, so you can hold the baby and and
I know, I know. It's funny. I just left seeing her before I came here. So,
oh, good. So you got a chance to see it.
showing her some love.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's weird because with family, there are people who have more, compromised immune systems in terms of trying to keep your distance from family, but it's so hard not to,
hmm
see my mom as much and just kind of, just that family time. And I'm a big
Yeah,
person, so
yeah.
it's hard with family.
It's some crazy times we're going through right now, but I think we all going to get through it together.
We are. And thanks to
Hopefully.
people like you who are just sharing the gift virtually. Was this something that you could have ever envisioned in terms of like making your classes available online so that people outside of the Portland area would be able to dance with you or?
No. So no, I didn't think that at all. It kind of just happened randomly where I was just like, I miss teaching my normal classes in the dance studio where you're with your people and you're actually in person teaching classes. And so I said, I wonder what it would be like if I were to do, an IG class and what that would look like. And if people would actually take it and and it's virtual and it's just a new thing for me. I've done things on camera before, but not necessarily like a dance class on Instagram. So I just tried it out a couple of weeks ago for the first time, getting my feet wet with it to see how it would work. Mm-hmm. And it turned out to be pretty awesome, actually. Pretty fun and awesome. And so then I kind of got used to it and I started like vibing off of it, and people were sending me really nice messages, in my DMs about how, I made their day and how they needed this and things like that. So I felt like it was my duty to give back and keep people dancing during these difficult times, and keep me sane. So I'm not just sitting in the house, got my creative juices going a little bit.
Well, boo to that neighbor that gave you the noise complaint the other day.
Oh, right. Right. I think I was a little extra, I guess, that day. So I had to move it to a studio.
Oh my gosh. Well, no, it was so much fun. And you feel like you're actually in the class with you, which I guess I wasn't expecting. This is not a counseling session, but just in terms of going to classes in general, I think as a retired dancer, I had kind of like a mental block of like, going to dance class is not the same as performing, and like I don't want to do it, and then I'm not dancing anymore. And then to finally just kind of move past that and opening my mind up with all the virtual classes about like, well, maybe I can kind of like sneak in and take one. The first one that I actually took with you because we were going to do this interview, I was like, well, I at least should, I've seen your choreography on the Trailblazers and we'll get to that. But I was just like, well, let me just pop into the class and just see, what he's teaching, what his style. I'm telling you, even more unprepared than this last time. I was extra unprepared the first time around. And here I am starting to learn the choreo and just completely dance out of nowhere. Because I'm telling you, it was just such a cool thing for me to experience because I had no intentions of actually doing the dances. I just was going to like eavesdrop and just watch.
Oh, that's really awesome. I'm glad you were able to take. I'm glad it was a good, successful thing for you.
It was. It got my butt up and dancing again.
Okay, good. That makes me really happy.
Because I don't know if it's like a level of intimidation or, you're seeing all these choreographers that you've heard of and that you've maybe dreamed of taking a class with, but never really, but it's just you in your living room. They can't even see you.
Yeah, no one's judging you. It's just you, and you do what you got to do for you. You take it to the level that you need to do it for, and you just have a good time. I think that's my thing, is just making sure people are up and moving. And, I give the foundation of what the choreography should look like, or give the basics of what I want the choreography to look like. But it's up to you to do what's good for your body, your mind and your spirit. And as long as you're good, I'm good with it. So I try to preach that every single class. Like, no one's judging you. You do you. And just have a good time. I think that's what makes me happy. And that's the most important thing. And another cool thing is that people who would never get to take my class, not being a native of Portland, get to actually experience everybody's class, not just mine, but I get to take from people I've been wanting to take from before and things like that. So I think this virtual thing is actually really kind of working out. It's kind of pretty cool for now.
I know for now, but I was
for now,
because you watch choreographers like in the LA area, and I know sometimes they would go live with some of their classes, but it's not like they were at all like teaching to the camera. It was kind of like somebody must have just set it up in the corner and they just let it run. Do you think that even after this is all over with, that you'll incorporate a way for people to still participate virtually, or do you think
that's
you're kind
funny?
of
I hope so. I plan to do that. I think once, things open up, cities open up, and are back in the dance studios and things like that, I think it would be cool to still, at least maybe once a week or twice a month, to still, for me personally, to still maybe try to do an IG class. That way it still gives the option for people to, who are in different states or wherever, to still be able to take my class if they want to. I think that's a great platform. I'm used to it now, and it's not weird and awkward for me like it was probably the very first time. But I think I would like to try to continue to do this if possible. If people would want it, I'm down to, give back and continue to do this.
I feel like we're going to be so spoiled from this that if it all stops when everything goes back to normal, and I don't know about you, if you have a crazy schedule normally with traveling and stuff like that, I'm sure it might make it a little bit more complicated, but it's great to be able to broaden your reach to people.
Absolutely. Yeah. All you need is your phone, really. You can do this anywhere. So that's another cool thing. You don't necessarily need to be anywhere in particular. You just take your phone and then just log on and go for it. So that's kind of another cool thing about it too.
Yeah. As long as you don't have crazy neighbors.
Oh yeah. Right. Right.
Hater. They just wanted to be in the class.
Yeah, they was just mad.
Let's go through your dance career. So you have an extensive background dancing as part of like hip hop squads. And so tell me about like kind of how you got started and just everything. And I'm just going to PS it by saying like, I'm so pumped because I've been wanting to talk to a male dancer for like forever.
Oh, nice.
So I'll be asking lots of questions.
About, totally.
The dance opportunities that you've been able to have, like how the industry's changed, and just kind of, so anyway, I'll just be peppering them in throughout.
Oh, man.
Tell me how you got started.
Okay, so I started my career actually doing African dance. I was a West African dancer. That's kind of where I started my roots were. And that's funny that people say African is where you actually start your roots, but that's true story from my life. Is I was an African dancer at the age of 12, taking African dance classes here in Portland, Oregon. And then I auditioned. There was a pretty well-known African dance troupe that traveled, like a professional company that traveled around the world and did like touring and things like that. So at the age of 12 and 13, I auditioned for that company. And I actually got in as an apprentice in an adult African dance company, and I worked my way up to become a principal dancer. And was able to do some traveling and some maturing in my dance career, I guess, with being a kind of a teenager with adults. So I started doing that, and then I dabbled into hip hop. I was a little nervous. My godbrother got me into doing hip hop classes. So I would take like hip hop classes at like 24 Hour Fitness and things like that, just kind of see what that was about. And like found a common medium that I was kind of very similar to, like the rhythm and musicality and beat and stuff like that. So I started to like it. And then about age of 16, Portland, we had a WNBA team. We had a franchise, Portland Fire. And when that came to Portland, they had a audition notice for a dance team, and it was a co-ed hip-hop dance team. And so that was back in 2000, and it's so crazy. I was going back to the memory lane today to be prepared for this interview, but back in 2000, I remember there being a audition notice for looking for hip-hop dancers for a new WNBA pro team. Back then, I wasn't familiar with pro team and, NBA and all that stuff, other than what I saw, the cheerleaders that would do it, but I never saw anything of males being able to perform as well, and a hip hop, troupe at that. So it was a pretty new, it was a pretty new thing for Portland. So I auditioned for that, age 16, got in. Don't know how that worked out, but made it. Made the team, and I actually danced with them for 3 seasons. We went from 2000 to 2003, and we were the main dance entertainment aspect for the WNBA, the Portland Fire. Then that franchise, I believe, went away. I'm not sure what happened, but it went away. And then there was a big time frame until like 2006. We've always had the Portland Trailblazers NBA team and the Blazer dancers and things like that. So back in 2006, there was a notice for a hip hop dance squad for the Portland Trailblazers team. So there was the Blazer dancers, and they were creating a new team in addition to the Blazer dancers that would do like primarily more urban dancing, I would say that. So hip hop. Auditioned for that and became a member of that team. And that was from 2006 to 2008. It only lasted for 2 seasons. During that time, it was the Blazer dancers and us and a Trailblazer team. So there was 3 different entertainment teams for the Portland Trailblazers. So cool. It was nothing like dancing for like 40,000 people in an arena. Man, it was great. So I did that for 2 seasons, and then that happened to go away. They just took away our team, and they kept the Blazer dancers, and I believe it's the stunt team at that time in 2008. And so then it just kind of stuck with that team for forever. And then recently, back in 2017, Michelle, who is our game ops.
Yeah.
Michelle's fantastic. She is
Has
the bomb. Everybody knows she's the bomb, but she's the bomb.
Yes.
She had this great idea to see what it would be like to have some male dancers join the Blazer dancers, just to kind of see what that would look like as we are in today's time. So back in 2017, she contacted me and had this opportunity like, oh, what would it be like to bring some guys on, you know, to dance with the Blazer dancers during playoffs. It was just like a small little situation just during playoff times. Yeah, and so she brought me in, and she was like, would you want to teach the combo at the audition? It was very quick because we didn't have a lot of time. So I went in, we put out a little audition notice. I went in and taught a little hip-hop combination, kind of like something you would see more hip-hoppy, more than what you probably would take from me on my IG class. Back in 2017, she created the team. We, I think, did like 2 or 3 practices, was ready to go. I did the choreography for the first game. And then it so happened that we didn't make it far in the playoffs that season. So we didn't actually even get to perform. But it was great. Yeah, we didn't get to perform. Nope, we didn't make it that far. So we practiced and so we were so excited, but excited for the opportunity, but bummed that we never got to perform what we actually have been practicing for. So that was how kind of like the Rip City crew, or bringing boys on board to the Blazer organization till now. Then in 2018, last season, Michelle, of course, had a fantastic idea. What would it be like to try that again? So we had another audition. I was very ecstatic and grateful for the opportunity to come in and do the audition again for the next season, which was last season, 2018. We auditioned some boys and chose a team. And that time, I did the audition as choreographer, but then I was like, ooh, what would it be like if I auditioned to be on the team? I kind of miss, dancing on the court. Yeah, like I kind of miss it. So I was like, ooh, I wonder what that would be like. So I actually did the audition as choreographer, blah, blah, blah. And I auditioned as well. So I made it on the team. It was 11 guys. And that was the birth of the Rip City crew, which is now, and back then was coached by Lisa. I think Lisa did an interview with you. Love Lisa as well. They created the Rip City crew. Back in 2018, I danced on the team. So great, so fun. I believe they did it the right way. We just didn't take the Blazer dancers and put them to the side. We actually are like one big happy family where we, vibe with each other, got to dance with each other. We did a few routines together, and then we did some, we dabbled in doing our own with the boys by themselves just to see how the fans would like it. I think they love this.
I'm so disappointed that this whole little Rona just messed up my whole plan to go down to Portland for, gosh, it was like March. It was sometime in March, but I think it was supposed to be Rip City crew and the Blazers performing together. It was a Saturday against the Rockets. I was like, I finally get to see it. And I just, anyway. And then the Rona happened.
Oh man, that's terrible. That's terrible. I'm sure hopefully you'll get to catch them. They're great.
You would say that the crowd,
Yes, I think it was just trying to see what the fans were going to like and how the fans were going to take it, and I believe it went pretty well. And that's why we were asked to come back again. I think that was like the test run to see what it was going to be like to have male dancers on the court, a part of the entertainment aspect. And I think it went pretty well because of the way I believe Michelle and Lisa and the coaches did it and how they introduced it. I think it was the perfect way to not just throw all these guy dancers on the court in a very male dominant sport, but they did it the right way. And I think that's the way and it turned out to be in favor of them liking us, which is why they're still here. So now this year, I decided not to return this year because I kind of wanted to dabble more on the choreography aspect with working with NBA teams and high school, dance teams that way. I didn't audition this season, but I did get to do the audition again. And this time I got to judge as well. So I was on the other side. Yeah, I got promoted and got to be on the other side of the table this time. It was great to be, part of the family and still be a part of the creating the team aspect. And they're great. I mean, they're some hardworking people, guys. And in the Blazer Dancer, they're fantastic too. So I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to have been a part of that for sure.
Wow. I'm digesting that because it's like, I wouldn't have thought about it, but at the WNBA probably was the first league.
Yeah.
Pro league. And I'm, I don't want to just like state it as a fact. I got to fact myself. But just to try, because I do recall now, like there were a lot more co-ed
Mm-hmm.
teams, I think, for WNBA when they first started. And I don't know now, sometimes they have kid teams, but I feel like they probably were one of the first few, I would say,
I
to kind
think
of
so.
approach
Yeah,
it
I
that
think
way.
so. I felt like it. I felt like it was
Yeah.
pretty normal back then, where the team was very co-ed and hip hop. 'Cause I remember, in particular, Phoenix. Like I
Hmm.
remember their team a lot. So I think we kind of like took after them a little bit because I believe they had their team before we had the actual Fire franchise, if I'm correct. But yeah, it was pretty normal. And I felt like back then too, the fans were different for the WNBA than the fans are for the NBA in
Yeah,
a different way. The energy was different. They loved us. That was the norm, is to have a co-ed team in hip hop
yeah,
versus, when you have the NBA, they're used to the, cheerleaders or the female dancers. But I
right.
think it's like, it's dope. I love that they have guy dancers doing it. I mean, because we can kill it too. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I mean, like you said, I think what we've seen in the last year is just a variety of approaches in terms of how males were incorporated into both NFL and NBA. But I think it's a just watching this landscape change where there are more opportunities for male dancers, and like the interview with Lisa, the interview with Michelle, just kind of like at a time where it just hurt a lot the way that certain things were happening. It just really kind of like balanced out the picture of just like, why wouldn't we want equal opportunities for male dancers? And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get that like the overall sport is male dominated, but the dance opportunities are just so small and
Yeah,
few to come about in the first place that it is great that there are professional dance opportunities for men
absolutely.
that aren't just around like touring with artists. Or I mean, I keep hearing stories of like how this is shrinking in like in LA, New York, in terms of certain types of dance opportunities for just in general, not just for male or female, but like
Mm-hmm.
to have a space where it's like it's going to be structured, where there's auditions and requirements and things like that, and where it's just really you're just part of the same organization and team.
For sure.
Whether they do it in a co-ed manner or just having a separate team, but I just think it can be done, and it creates an awesome opportunity for male dancers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, that's so cool. So then
Yeah.
you wanted to focus on choreography. Tell me a little bit about the teams that you've worked with, and
Yeah, it was a tough decision because I love performing. That's like in my blood, is just being in front of a crowd or an audience. That's kind of like my passion for so many years. That's what I did. So it was a tough decision deciding if I wanted to re-audition for Rip City Crew
yeah,
this season. Took some reaching in to see really what I wanted to do in my career. And so I kind of took the path of wanting to do more choreography and dabbling into that, like artistic directing and things like that. So I would say I'm kind of pretty new in trying to get into the pro team choreography world. I work with a lot of high school dance team and collegiate teams, but I think my passion is really the NBA, like working with the pro teams and things like that. So I'm just right now trying to work on my craft, getting more knowledge under my belt, figuring out styles and things that work on the court, and just posting as much stuff on social media so people see my work and hopefully will hire me one day. I mean, I think that's what I'm trying to do right now, and working on connections and things like that, and making sure the right organizations and coaches and things like that are seeing my work and hopefully like it and give me a chance to come and work with their team. So the only thing I've worked with so far is the Blazer Dancers, the
uh-huh.
Rip City Crew, and I've worked with the Portland Winterhawks dance team.
Oh yeah,
Um,
love them.
I've done it. I've worked with them a few different times over the past couple of years. They continue to bring me back, and I'm so thankful for the opportunities. So,
They dance
um,
their butts off on that ice. Like I
it's
just don't.
crazy, but
It's
they
hard
do
to
it though.
pull it off and kill it like on the floor, but I still I will never
Mind
forget
the
it.
ice, right?
Yeah, crazy,
I
crazy.
know. I've just worked with a lot of the Portland teams so far, but hopefully one day looking to reach out and showcase and bring my style to these other teams everywhere, really. So I'm just trying to work on my craft and spreading the word with my choreography and posting on social media and keeping my fingers crossed.
Like we were saying earlier, having that reach of allowing people in different markets to take your classes. I mean, I just think that's kind of where it'll just start to snowball, because the more people hear about your work and seeing it and how fun it is, oh my
It makes me
goodness,
so
like
happy. Yeah, I'm
it's infectious. So I'm
so
excited for you.
excited about it. So excited.
I'm sure I will be seeing your choreography in a lot more places moving forward. I know I'm jumping on back and forth, but
No, it's all good.
just because it was a hard decision for you because of, I'm assuming maybe the time commitment and the time that you'd want to devote to, developing your craft as a choreographer. But
Hmm.
if we could take a step back to dancing for Rip City Crew, what was that commitment like for you in terms of time, practice? Like Lisa did kind of like lay the groundwork for how she kind of created the team, and there's, similar structure and requirements for you guys. But from your perspective, I'd love to hear like what it was like to be a part of the team. And
yeah, totally. So the year that I was on, since it was a brand new team, it was trial and error that we're trying to figure it out. The commitment level, it's a commitment, it's a job. So we're there to do a job. We practiced once a week, like every Sunday for 4 hours. Usually we would split up. It would be like the Rip City, the boys. We would practice whatever we needed to practice for like the first 2 hours in one studio. And then like the last 2 hours, we would go into another studio where we had the Blazer dancers. And if we had any games or anything that we were going to work together or dance together, we would then bring both teams together and practice like the last 2 hours. So it was actually a really cool situation. So it was really once a week, and we only performed at, I believe, like between 10 and 12 games in the whole season.
The whole season?
Yes, it wasn't a huge commitment like it would be for the Blazer dancers when there's like 40 plus games. We only did like between 10 and 12, and then just practice once a week. So it was manageable, very manageable. But from this year, because, they loved us so much, and plus we want to uplift and make the team better, I believe that they're practicing twice a week this season, 4 hours apiece, and they dance at, I think, 30 games, if I'm correct.
Oh, so the whole
they
like doubled.
They loaded it on big. Yeah, because the fans love it so much. And I think, they rehearse twice a week and like 30 plus games. So the commitment level is very different than when I was on the team. And so
that makes sense. I was curious that maybe that might have been part of it. But just hearing, that would be something to digest in terms of.
Oh, yeah.
Your game day too, like from social media and stuff, I noticed that they were having like Rip City crew interacting with fans before the game, and like a freestyle circle and break. I don't know what all was happening.
So I can only talk for the year that I was on, but I can give you a little information for what I believe or what I see as well that they're doing this year. But the year I was on, like I keep saying, it was our first time. We didn't want to do too much and be too extra the first year, but they're like, oh no, you know what I mean? So we just kind of baby steps to where they want us to do. So back then when I was on the team, we would dance one quarter, and it may be that we do a co-ed, something where it's the Blazer dancers and us at the same time, we'll do something together. Or there was a few times where we got to actually dance by ourselves, where it was just the guys out there. So we would dance one quarter of the game. We didn't do any fan crowd engagement at that time, that season. So we kind of just laid low until it was our time to, go out and dance. But we love to support the girls. We would go and watch them and root them on for the tunnels and things like that. We would draw our own little freestyle battles in the dressing room until it was time to dance. You know how guys are. We battle each other and keep the energy flowing until it was time to go out for us to perform. So we just did a lot of that kind of stuff. So it's pretty low key for us back then. But now this year, I think the guys are doing a lot more things where they're doing, I think it's called the Blazer Parade or Blaze Parade, where it's our mascot who does like these parades in the concourses and things like that. But they get to freestyle and battle and do all these cool things in the concourse and let the fans actually, be a part of it. So they do that. And I think they give out like bangers now. So they're much more involved with the fans, which is a fantastic thing. Like they get to be out more, so people can see them and stuff like that. So they have a lot more opportunities this time, because I think that we've done it once. So now they know what we can do. Right. We have a little bit of under our belt of what to expect, but it's a job. It's a lot of work. They want the best of the best. And so that's the expectation. So the guys, they're doing it.
Wow. Well, I've always been curious, like if the guys would ever, from your perspective, like, would you want to have as a dancer, if you're still part of the team, like that kind of, persona where you have like your bio and your name and your stats? I would always think to myself that maybe guys are cool with the low profile, or would it be actually kind of cool in terms of being able to market yourself to actually have your own like social media account for the team that you're on, or like your own bios at least, or something that kind of be able to market it?
I think so. I always wanted that. Like, if you're going to dance for an organization and it's a job, I would want people to know things about me and fun facts and, what I do when I'm not on the court and things like that. I would love that. And I think a lot of the guys would love the same stuff that the girls would get. I think it's because we're all in the same umbrella. We're all representing the same team. And I think it's just a great thing. Fans want to know that, I think. you know?
I think maybe it's just because, like you said, all the not the baby steps, but just trying to kind of bring something new to, an organization and the fan base, figuring out what's too much or just like the right pace at putting it on everybody. But I think it's definitely safe to say that people are curious, right? I mean, and I've noticed just from a few of the other like male crews that have formed in the last year, a couple years, they have like maybe an Instagram account, but not really a big website presence for the team or bios or anything like that. So hopefully that will be something that'll improve for just
I hope so too. I hope so too. And I feel like they will get there. I do feel like they will get there. But yeah, because people are curious. They want to know, you know.
Exactly. So back to the choreo. So you're having your time to develop all of that. I have to admit, I don't follow it as much in terms of like college, but just like all of those like dance competitions and all that kind of stuff. Do you?
Like the NDA and UDA competition, stuff like that. So I have not dabbled into that world yet. I'm more so on the state level in terms of like state competition level, not as much nationally where they're competing yet. I am hoping to get some of those teams under my belt. I can do it. I can do it. And I'm hoping that someone brings me on to let me showcase, that work of mine. But right now, I think my jam is, like I said, the NBA 1.5 minute routine, go out and kill it. Quick, easy, just all about, entertainment. I think that's what I love so much right now.
And you have your experience speaks to that. I mean, you've been basically performing in front of NBA, WNBA crowds as part of your professional career. So, you have a good sense of what resonates with the crowd, and different markets might vary a little bit in terms of like style or whatever, but that's your jam. Did you notice that like some of the, like your teammates when you were on the team for Rip City, because I could see you kind of being like the pro that you've been used to this, where the rest of the teammates like, it's a different environment, I would say, in terms of performing, right?
Totally. A lot of the guys on my season, some of us knew each other outside of the audition because, we all take each other's classes and stuff like that. I teach quite a bit in the Portland area, so when it came to audition, I kind of helped promote, like, go be a part of this team because I've done it for so much. I mean, it's so fun. There's nothing like I said, dancing on the court and dancing for that many people. So a lot of those guys I knew before. I felt like I was kind of like the big brother of the team because I've done it for so long. I think none of them actually, except for me, had done anything on the court or danced for any pro team before. So I was kind of like the mentor. I felt like in my mind, I was like the mentor, big brother, kind of helping coach them. Smile, you look up, you're about to entertainment, dance big, don't look down to the ground. Can't be all small, you got to be big, you got to dance for the people way up in the 300 level and stuff like that. And I think they really respected me in that sense because I had the experience and things like that, and I didn't try to act like I was better than anybody else, but I was try to be more of a mentor, big brother to all the the guys, and it turned out to be it was great. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, actually.
I probably saw bits and pieces when you were on the team, but they are really fun and dynamic to watch perform. And it's almost like your eyes are glued even more so, especially when it's just the guys, because it's you don't see it. You don't see it unless it's like a music video with Chris Brown or something like that. It's just like just the energy, because it's different. Choreography. Was there ever a style? Because I guess it's all primarily hip hop, right? But did you ever kind of like wish that you could showcase a little different vibe?
It would be fun. I would say for me, I think it would be fun if we could have maybe dabbled into not so much jazz, but like more of a jazz funkier style. Because some of us can have technique. We can turn. We can do things like that. I'm not necessarily talking about a traditional jazz or thrash routine or anything like that, but like something, where we could show a little more versatility than what people probably want us to be hard, hardcore, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of us that can do all types of styles, in addition to that. So we kind of kept it under an umbrella. I would say that the first season, we kind of kept it, masculinity is huge. We're guy dancers, so we should be dancing like men. And that's why we have the blazer dancers. That's why we have the female dancers, for them to be sassy. We kind of kept it pretty under that umbrella. But I don't think it would always be like that. I think it's just going to take some time to where people would love to see that. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it would be fun to do something like that for sure.
That, right? The hip hop has just evolved so much from where it began. And like what's considered hip hop now, and like in terms of choreography and stuff. But I will say that sometimes, even because I'm like constantly consuming this for the podcast, right? But there are times where I'm just like, okay, it's just that hard hitting hip hop
Mhm.
again. But like, I think with the guy teams, especially now, the appetite's there where you kind of want to see a little something, something, not
Explore
like,
more.
but just like a
Hmm.
different vibe. And I guess it would be different for NBA because usually like hard hitting music and it's,
Right.
a different vibe. But I almost just wish now that it just really just becomes a stage where you can just
For
put out
sure.
just something that's going to entertain people and be a crowd pleaser that doesn't have to just be this hard hitting hip hop
Choreography, for sure.
choreography all the
For
time.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we're there to entertain. So I think as long as we're entertaining and it's high action pack, high energy, I don't really think the fans would care.
Which
Personally, I don't think they would care what it is as long as that we have that 1.5, 1 minute and 30 seconds of just full on action packed choreography. So, I think a lot of the teams as they evolve, like you said, hip hop has evolved so much and styles have evolved. I think teams will dabble more into different styles. I think it will be completely fine.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm excited to see it because it's
Me
you
too.
do more you just do more. That's pretty much what it boils down to. I mean, I think with the NFL, there's different considerations, right? Because now
For sure.
they're incorporating stunting more than just like in Baltimore with the Ravens, and then like some teams that are co-ed and it's like one or two guys, or
Hmm.
Seattle, we just completely flip the script and now it's a team that's combined very much. And
Right.
but at the same time, there's separate styles. Like they'll have the girls doing kind of like the jazz and the highly technical stuff, but they're also doing the hip hop, and then
Hmm.
it's just really interesting space right now. And I think
Yeah,
there are
totally.
different variations that we'll see. The more people just kind of get used to it. Like, okay, that's what we do now. Have you ever coached or had a desire to coach?
So, oh yeah, I totally have a desire to coach. I would love to be able to coach a team for sure. For sure, that is definitely in my timeline of where I want to get to. So, I would
I
love
could
to
totally
coach a
see
team.
that. I could
Yeah, I
totally.
would love to coach a team and help mentor, and because I choreograph too, so it would be fun to have an in-house choreographer. It would just be fun to do that. So that is definitely something I'm working forward to. I'm always keeping my eyes peeled for opportunities for sure.
I just had that, like, I'm weird like that where sometimes I'll get like visions or flashes that come to me and I just see you as a coach for some reason.
Yeah, put it out in the universe for me.
There we go.
I'll take all those blessings right there.
It is out there. Oh my God. Like, I feel like I could talk to you all night, but I wouldn't make
I know, that's how I feel about you.
I'm like, where are we on time? Because you're seeing all this like virtual auditions craziness, right? With
Yes, yes.
people probably freaking out and going through all these
Hmm.
prep classes and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Now that you've also been judging auditions, how would you kind of like approach this new world order of virtual auditions as both a judge and a dancer?
I know, it's so different. I've been seeing that, I follow all these teams and all these audition notices and things like that. It's so different. I think for one, I think it's cool that they're allowing, and even though we're going through this pandemic, that we're still allowing people to audition and prepare for seasons, even though we don't know what the future is going to hold for us. So I do applaud that we're still having that happen. People are still trying to create these auditions and give more opportunities for people to be a part of the teams. So I love that. The virtual thing, I think it really works in the favor of the dancers, I think, because you're not in person, you're not in front of a table of judges where everything's in the moment and instant. You actually, because a lot of these things where you have to submit a video in 2 weeks, that's something you can practice, or you like log on, you learn a routine, and you have to submit it in like a week and a half. So now you have all that time to prepare and practice and really get down, to the gritty of the choreography,
Yeah.
and then film yourself and do it, as opposed to learning it in person and having to. We've all been turn around and just be able to and whip it out perfectly. So I think
Right.
it really works in the advantage of the dancers that are auditioning for it. You can prepare more. And I think when it comes to being a judge, I think for me, it would be hard to know, yeah, we're watching the videos and we're seeing people perform the routines that you want them to, but how do we know if they can pick up choreography quick? How do we know how their attitude, can they represent the team and the organization without having a conversation? I'm somebody who feels like energy and personality. Like I like to, how we're
Okay.
talking, like I'm all about you. I think you're great. And like we're vibing. So
Right.
like, how do you determine that? So I think that's what's going to be hard for coaches, is to figure, are they the perfect person for the team? Can they speak well? Can they represent the organization? So I think that might be, or can they pick up choreography? yeah, I can learn a video, learn some choreography and practice it in a week and then, send the video in, but that doesn't mean I can pick up when it's time when a choreographer is coming. So I think that's what's going to be hard for coaches. I'm sure they're going to work it out. But I think it's really working in the advantage of the dancer, to be quite honest.
Yeah, the more I think about it, I'm like, there's some definite benefits to not having the pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Physically there in that moment. But, I also am thinking, like, I don't know how many submissions people are getting, but just like watching a video after video after video, how I would distinguish someone that I really liked from somebody who was like, good, okay, because you would pick up on different things in person, probably as a coach or a judge, where you're, you like the way that they enter the room, you like their presence, you like little things, just the way that they smile and interact with people. And everything's going to be very, like you said, rehearsed, because they would have time to
totally
times and tape it again and maybe even do some editing and mix videos together.
I know. But and then you get them in person and then you're like, oops, did I make a mistake? You know what I mean? Like, you just don't know. So I think that's what's going to be different. That's going to be really different for these coaches, to have to make sure they're picking the right people.
Especially if they're training camp or whatever other part of the auditions process that they were used to be able to not like weed them out, but just having people gather at some point, to see how they sell. And,
for sure.
Little things like, I mean, you can look at people's height or stats on paper, but just the overall makeup of who you selected. Like, did you end up picking a bunch of shorties or, I don't know. I'm definitely curious how it's going to play out. People are hungry for dance classes and like anything to prep and prepare. And I'm sure you've had quite a few people join your classes that are in that audition.
Yeah, getting prepared for the different auditions. I choreographed 4 different solos already for people auditioning for different teams virtually. And so, I mean, I'm not mad at it. They're preparing, they're trying to do what they can, but it's definitely different. I don't think we're prepared for this whole situation, but I'm glad people are still, working hard to try to get on these teams of the choices and things like that. But I guess we have to wait and see. Hopefully at some point they'll be able to come together and, like you said, kind of go to a training camp and see if they made the right choices or whatever. But
which is awful to be like, on second thought, no, but
but that's great. Yeah, exactly.
It's great that you're offering that, in terms of prep for people. Is that up on your like Instagram page if people wanted to reach out to you for?
Oh yeah, I just try to tell people to follow my Durante Lambert choreography Instagram page. I think a week ago I had posted like, if you need solos or coaching or etiquettes or critiques or anything like that, I'm always available for those type of things. So yeah, if you guys need or anyone needs anything with a choreography, whatever, prep, just information, I'm always around to help people, because I love to help people be successful and make the teams that they want to, because it's a lot of hard work. That light at the end of the tunnel is so great when you're on the court and you everything you work hard for, you're there. Like, I just wish that for everybody, because it's so great. It's so great.
It's so great. But I think it's something for people to think about too, is that, in addition to taking, as many dance classes as you can, and I've heard people even say that, okay, maybe I'm not going to take 1 million dance classes. I'm just going to take a reasonable number and really just try to master that choreography and like nitpick and like perfect so that you're not just kind of polluting your brain with a bunch of choreo for no reason without really actually working and applying the feedback that you're getting. But I would say, like, if you actually are offering critique as well, like, people are going to need to send these videos to somebody who's got more of a critical eye than their girlfriend or their significant others or family. You know what I mean? Like, you want,
absolutely,
I would think, like, the right kind of feedback and coaching on what they look like on that screen.
Absolutely.
And
yeah, I'm totally down for that. And I think where people fall short when it comes to these pro teams are, I think it's important that you research the team's style, because every team has a style. And I think it's important to research what the style that they're doing and follow those classes and prepare for that. Because a lot of the NBA teams that are on the East Coast are different from the NBA teams on the West Coast, in terms of style and different choreography. So I think it's important to really gauge the style of the team that you're preparing to audition for. That was always something someone told me back in the day, and I think I cherish that because it's so important. It's so true.
and just even to like be able to recognize, it's not so much like recognize when you don't have that style, but like you could be doing the choreography, but it's just like that extra twist on executing that makes it match the style of the team that you want to be part of, where you could be doing the dance, but you would just look different from everybody else.
Exactly.
Because of that style thing. And so getting that feedback of like, you know, here's my video for auditions or just a video of me doing choreography. Like, can you give me critique to make sure that I'm matching the style of the team that I'm going out for? That's golden. Like, that's where I would be putting my money if I were someone that was auditioning.
Right?
Like, you know, I can learn choreography from a bunch of people, but like, who do I want to hear feedback from that will help me fix my stuff? You know what I'm saying? To get ready for this specific team. And even if it's just observation, you don't have to work with the team, but just kind of like, that's going to be too soft for such and such. Or, you know, your style seems more like what I see in Phoenix, or I don't know, but something
or
like
add more here, or maybe do this, or put in a trick here, or do, totally. I think that's golden. I think that's golden for sure.
We'll definitely be posting and resharing your post about that.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yes, because like it's getting crowded in that space of like audition prep. There's like a bunch of new companies popping up, and lots of classes. And I would just, you know, for people who are listening that might just feel like their heads are spinning with all of that, it's just nice to get anchored in what to zero in on, because, you know, it's getting closer and closer to auditions for people. And so you might want to get a little strategic with, you know, and help that you're getting. But you're so fabulous. I like your energy a lot. And I just think
thank you so much.
Encouraging for people. So the coaching aspect and giving feedback, there's something about you, Durante, that's like, it kind of, I was trying to describe it to Michelle the other night, because, you know, I went through my like semi-meltdown of, not meltdown, I won't call it a meltdown, but now I'm turning it to like a counseling.
Not a meltdown. That's a strong word.
Oh my God. But I mean, there's something that's like, disarming is not the right word, but it's just like your approach with teaching and in general. And I've only had 2 of your classes and my first time talking to you, but like, it just puts you at ease. And I'm just imagining like if somebody who's going through like the stress of preparing for auditions, being able to work with somebody that puts you in a space of like calm and have fun with, because you know what I mean? The calm and like the build you up to get the confidence, whether you're giving critique or not. It's just like, you could do this. Like I remember in the class, was it just the one yesterday where I was just like, oh Lord, like this one's, I mean, it's like, choreography, like you kept saying it was simple, but I'm like, you make people want to give it their all. That's what I think.
Good.
Like, and
I try. I mean,
good job at that.
Oh, I appreciate that. You're so kind. Thank you so much. I try to be so positive and bring positivity to people's lives, and I try to encourage. I think that's my biggest attribute, is trying to encourage and motivate. Even in my classes, when it's in person in my dance classes, like I want everyone to be successful. I'm not the kind of choreographer who's going to be 1 and 2, ga. I mean, I do a little of that anyway, as you probably saw yesterday, but
you want people to actually get it though.
Yeah, like, it's like not my show. It's like, I have it. I want you guys to get it. So I want everyone to be successful. So I'm going to take the time and motivate. And I think that's what makes a good teacher and a choreographer is, I want everyone to be successful. And I want you to feel good and feel accomplished, like you came, like you earned something, you got it, and you feel good going home. And I think that's what the biggest joy for me is. It's not about, you know, how many 8 counts I can teach somebody, because that's not who I am. And that I've worked with other teachers that want to teach 28 counts and get the whole routine done, and you don't even get 5 of the 8 counts. But, you know what I mean? I'm not that kind of, that doesn't matter to me. I want to make sure you're good, so you're successful. I'm answering your questions, you're smiling, and you're giving your all. So when I'm doing woom, ha, ha, ka, ka, whatever, that's me making sure you're getting the music out and you feeling what I'm feeling, because I want you to feel good, because I'm feeling good, you know? So that's so important for me. And I think that's why people continue to like want to come back to my classes. I hope they come back and not feel defeated or have a meltdown. Never have a meltdown.
No, my meltdown was a little different, but you nailed it. Like you so nailed it. It's just that encouragement, because I think, you know, it's just easy when you're learning, and I'm not part of a team anymore, obviously, where, you know, you're just in a different mindset of learning and executing and all of that. But I found at least one of the things that I really had to push through when I was on a squad, because I started dancing so late, was just like staying mentally, like not giving up on myself in choreography. Like I could be like all in, all locked in and focused, and then something could trip me up and I can, you know, I'll get in my head, and then I kind of almost like withdraw in the middle of, not the middle, probably more towards like the 3/4 mark. But I had to really push through that while I was on a team. But I know, especially like if you layer in, I haven't danced in so long, and then you layer in, I'm out of shape, and then you layer in all these
Yeah,
things.
right.
And I just remember feeling with the first class that I took when I wasn't even planning on taking it, just that you had this way of motivating me to kind of like stick with it. Like whether I had the whole damn dance or not, just kind of like pushing myself to just feel like I was working towards something. And for me, it just meant a lot because I
Oh,
think
I appreciate that. Thank you.
you want that, you want that feeling because like if you are in a dance class and you have that journey of feeling like, I don't know, you're just dancing for yourself. And then you're also, this is going to feel like a great accomplishment at the end. Not like I just took a class and move out of the way because next class is coming in, or,
For sure.
or this intimidating, like, okay, do it in groups and get out there. And, it's just very like you're in your own space. And that's when I know I'm the happiest, is when I'm just,
Oh, good. Just
as tired as
grooving,
I
just
may be.
grooving. Yeah, just
Grooving.
grooving. That's
Yeah.
all that matters. That's all that matters.
Oh
No
my
one's
God.
here to judge you. And I wanted to make it feel like we were in a class together. It's different when you don't actually have people behind you. So I try to bring my energy into my phone because I know there's a lot of you guys out there. So try to motivate. You never know what people are going through too. You never know. So if I can, within that hour, help you and put a smile on your face and get you moving, I'm accomplished. I'm good.
You're very, very good at what you do. And I mean, just in the
Thank
comment
you.
section, you could just feel that you were touching everybody in the same way and pushing, because we're all like, whoo, this is a lot, hang in there and keep it going. But the energy level, the pace at which you had us dancing over and over again, and just like everybody, I'm just like, they have to take this class. They have to take your class. And
I hope more people come. I'm going to keep doing them. So yeah, come take class. Let's just take class together.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, we end every interview with, I'm so curious because you probably have a really good story for locker talk. It's what we call like a little funny, embarrassing moment segment of anything that you may have experienced while you were either on the team, or it's a segment called Drop It Like It's Hot. And it's like a lightning round of questions to get to know you.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Which one speaks to you?
Let's do the drop it like it's hot.
Drop it like it's hot?
Is that the question? Were you just lightning question? Okay, I'm down for that. I'm always down for living on the edge. So I'm a little nervous though. I don't know what you're gonna
ask. They're not too bad. Really,
okay.
Not too bad. We'll warm you up slowly.
Okay.
Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Okay. See, not too bad. Texting or talking?
Texting, for sure.
Like my daughter, are you a 1 to 2 line texter, or are you a long paragraph texter?
It depends on the day and the time and what's going on in my life at the moment. And who I'm talking to. So I think I try to, make it bulky if I can. I don't want to blow you off with just a one-word answer. So I try to give you some energy if I can. I'm gonna give you some time.
Okay. That's how I view it. My daughter says my texts are entirely too long, but whatever. All right. Next one. What's your favorite childhood TV show?
Oh, Martin.
Oh, okay. Who has it easier, men or women?
Oh boy, that's a good question. I think men might have it easier.
Okay. Why?
Oh.
We can narrow it down.
I'm going, wait.
On a dance team.
This is one of those questions. I'll put it this way. I think it depends on the situation. But I think most of the time, men might have it easier because that's just how society works. It's almost like a man's world. And that's only because that's what people think, and that's just kind of what it is. But I think it could also depend on the situation, too. So I don't think it's always men has it easier.
Right.
Does that make sense?
You have a different answer when it comes to like pro dance or pro cheer, for example.
I think women have it easier for sure in that world.
In that world? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have to say why.
I mean, because that's what we're used to. That's what we're accustomed to. We're used to seeing women dancing on the court or the field. I mean, that's what we're used to. So I think if it was to take a woman or a man when it comes to a pro dancer, they're going to choose a woman. Because I just think that's just, the glitz, the glam, the hit, all that. Yeah. You guys got all that. I mean, we got all that too, but like, we're used to seeing you guys with all that. You know what I mean? Right. So I definitely think in that world, it would be women.
Women?
For sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Extrovert, for sure.
For sure. Okay.
Oh, yes.
What's the biggest mistake you see aspiring dancers make?
Giving up on themselves. Getting in their head, kind of like what we just talked about, giving up on themselves, getting all up in their head. I think that can really mess with the dancer and really not make them be successful. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when it comes to being on a team or any kind of dance situation, if you make a job, you're there for a reason. You know, you were selected for a reason. So you got that spot already. So now work hard and stick with it and don't let all that other stuff, clog your mind. You're already there. You were selected for a reason. So now work for it and showcase that and be the best you can be.
Period. If you could travel back in time, you can either answer it from an age in your own life or like an era, like a decade, like the 50s or something like that. If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to?
I would say the 70s.
That's my answer.
Really? So this looked like the people back then just didn't have a care. They just had a lot of fun. Like the dancing was way better. I mean, a lot of that stuff we're bringing back now. It just seemed like life was just so much grander in the scheme, especially dance and just in life in general. And like the outfits, the attire, I just love that whole era. I had a 70s birthday party 2 years ago. Oh, and it was great. Rented a disco ball. It would have froze and bell bottoms, and it was so much fun.
I would pick that over an 80s party. Not that there's anything wrong with the 80s, but it's kind of like, okay, 80s. But the 70s, like, I would go back there in a heartbeat.
70s were lit before we even knew what lit was.
I think the partying has never reached that level as it probably was in the 70s. Maybe there's too much partying, but it's a whole vibe. It's so
for sure.
Okay. What's your favorite carb? Bread, pasta, rice, or potatoes?
My favorite carb? Potatoes. I love mashed potatoes for sure. French fries, all that stuff.
All that. And they have so many different ways. Yeah, I'm with the potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Would you climb a mountain or jump from a plane?
Jump from a plane.
Have you ever done it?
Nope, but it's on my bucket list.
It's on your bucket list. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, not. I won't. I won't.
I want to so bad.
Gosh, wow, that just sounds exhilarating and scary as all get out. But I'm a wussy. I'll admit it all day long. Okay, if you were the eighth dwarf, what would your name be?
The eighth dwarf.
I don't even know all the other ones, but
Shoot, I was like, what's the other one's name? Is Fierce.
Ooh, okay. I like that. They did not have a fierce dwarf out there. I know that.
Yeah, Fierce.
Names, but okay.
And not necessarily like fierce, like, what we know, but just fierce and just like confidence, go-getter, like that kind of fierce.
Okay. Feeling it. All right, couple more. Let's see. Since we're in quarantine, this probably is toilet paper. Roll over or under?
Ooh, I'm going through it now. Under. Is that like when you pull? Yes. Yeah. So not over. It's definitely not over. It's like the other way.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know why this is such a big
Is there a difference? Is there a certain way
where it would roll off like the top versus like it kind of coming from underneath? Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yep.
So you're an underneather?
I'm an underneath person. That's exactly how it is in my bathroom now.
I know it shouldn't matter, but I don't even know how that made it onto this list. But that's actually the first time I asked it. But I'm like, I don't understand the underneathers. But
I'll be curious to see what other people say.
I'm gonna have to start asking that then.
Yeah,
I might be the only person that puts it. But anywho, okay, that was probably bad. Okay, let's see. Last one. Worst job you've ever had?
I think the worst job I've ever had, I was a server at Honey Baked Ham.
Okay.
Like high school time.
Okay.
That only lasted 2 days. And funny story is my first day, I never had experience of carrying a tray, like a tray with drinks on it. And I tried to be extra back then and try to be, all whatever and try to actually do that. And I remember going to a table and 5 glasses of water spilled on the table all over this man, on accident. I don't know. I don't even know how you'd even fail, but no experience, trying to do the most. And then the next day I was like, this ain't the job for me, so I'm going to stick with dance.
That reminds me, okay, so I was at school at Georgetown in D.C. And I decided I needed to, I don't even know how I got this job, okay? But lots of hotels and this and that. I don't even think I was 21. So why was I allowed to serve? I don't know. But I was at this hotel in DC, kind of big for conventions, etc., as a cocktail server, and same thing. Like, I think I quit right before I sensed that I was going to get fired because I was terrible. Like those dang on trays, nobody like explained the distribution of the glasses,
Nope.
and how to like maneuver things, and I was the worst. And I didn't drink, so I didn't understand anybody's orders. I back to the bartender, I was like, like I was screwing everything up. I was so bad. That was
Yes.
yes.
That's exactly. Yeah, I think it was the proportion. I may have had too much weight on one end, maybe.
One end, or hey, the whole thing.
Right.
Yep.
So I was like, oh no, I'm done with this. This ain't for me.
Now,
So
what is honey baked ham? Is that like a?
We don't. It's so old. We don't even have it anymore. It's not even here. So what it was is, have you heard of a honey baked ham? Like you can buy like in the grocery store. That company had an actual restaurant where you can go in and order here hams, or sit down and have like dinner. And it was in a mall, the Lloyd Center in Portland. It was in there, and you could get like salad and like ham and like Monte Cristos and things like that.
Okay.
And I was a server there. That was my very first job in high school.
Wow.
And first and last serving job.
At least you discovered what you're really good at.
Exactly. I had to go through that.
Everybody has to have one crappy job. But no, thank you so much. This was so fun talking.
Oh my God. No, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I was looking forward to this all day. So I'm ecstatic. And your energy is fantastic. So keep that up. We need that.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for getting me dancing again. I needed that more than I realized.
So fun though.
So fun.
Take care.
Thanks so much for listening to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. You can follow your favorite podcast on social media at Pro Cheerleading Podcast on Instagram, at Pro Cheer Podcast on Twitter. We're on Facebook, on YouTube, and you can support your favorite podcast on Patreon. Until next time, keep your eyes on the sidelines.